Hear ye, hear ye. The dishonorable Judge Joleen is here to talk all about Karen Read, day 23. The prosecution rests and its final witness, Judson Welcher, blows his load. We got to roast it. We got to recap it. We got to have some laughs. So grab a beverage. Hopefully you're wearing something very comfy. Smash that like on your way in and let's get started.
Jen! 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 Because I had like bread and maybe peanut butter in my car.
Why did you have bread and peanut butter in your car?
I had my niece for the week, and I was dragging her like to all my kids' sporting events. So we'd go from like one game to another game to a practice. So sometimes instead of always giving her McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts, I'd try to throw her a peanut butter sandwich.
And they were making fun of you?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what the hell?
Sometimes instead of always giving her McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts.
McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts. Hello, everyone. Objection. No. Overruled. We are getting started. Judge Joleen here to talk about all things Karen Read. We are live on a Thursday night, late night impromptu live. My allergies were driving me crazy all day, and I was just waiting to feel better so I could come live and talk to all of you about everything that's happened in the last 2 days. I mean, I don't think we're going to be here a super long time because we are all up way past our bedtimes, unless you're somewhere else in the world, not in the US, then maybe you're awake and it's a brand new day. So smash that like on your way in, you guys. Good to see you guys. Thank you. Oriole says up way past my bedtime, only for you, Joleen. You know what? What's more important, me or sleep? I would argue me. Haru, I even have a mod here, which is how fantastic my mods are, that they will show up even when I am just like, let's go 5 minutes before the live. Elizabeth, so good to see you. Jonathan says, IDK what this is about, but I'm drunk and saw you were live. I wanted to say, love you, bestie, Jonathan. So good to see you. Big Brother starts soon. So hopefully I'll see more of you then. Bestie. Janet is here. Hello, Janet. We're all spreading our load today, you guys. So the prosecution in the Karen Read case has rested their case. Hanky Panky Brennan was like, we're done now. So now we get a week to a week and a half, I think Karen Read said, of the defense. And I'm like, that is not long enough. Right? How are they going to present everything in a week to a week and a half? But here we are. And I was kind of surprised that we saw 36, I think, witnesses from the prosecution, yet no Alberts, no Higgins, no Proctor. I mean, we kind of knew as the case or as the retrial went along that we weren't going to see them from the prosecution. And word on the curb is that Michael Proctor's friends from high school who were in the group chat where he was talking about the leaky balloon knot and sending very, sensitive information about his investigation, where he only investigated Karen Read and just didn't investigate anybody else, to these men. So apparently maybe the men, these dudes, I don't know. We'll see what's going on. But it was a half day today. It was a half day, like Laura's saying. It's just a half. Judge Bev, Auntie Bev was just like, we're just doing a half day. Just a half day, bitches. I got my bangs. I got a bodacious bangs. Got to get to great clips. These bangs, they grow so quick when I'm working. Okay, so it's a half day. And I feel half good about my half day. So they were in and out, I think, at like noon. They were out by noon Eastern. I was like, just waking up in the morning, think about so many things. And they were like, court's adjourned. The Commonwealth rests corruption. I mean, our case. And we saw Alessie. Shout out to Casey. She sent me the pic with the muscles of Alessie that is on my thumbnail. Looking good, Alessie. I want to hear from you guys in the chat. Let me know how you thought today went, how you thought this Judson Welcher. I don't know. I think he might be our creepiest. I didn't think he could get worse than Shannon Burgess, but I think we have a new creepiest, weirdest, worst witness, and that is Judson Welcher, the Welch's grapefruit juice man, or grape juice, whatever it is. The man dressed up like a deceased police officer, John O'Keefe, put paint on himself to run himself, elbows bent, holding a glass, into the back of a Lexus like Karen Read's, going 2 miles an hour to prove what? To prove that that's what happened to John. It just, what is going on with the Aperture? Okay, objection. It's not Aperture's fault. Overruled. It actually is Aperture's fault. Why do they only hire these weirdos? These men are weird. Okay, everyone who's come out and been like, I'm here to testify as an expert from Aperture is Trey Weird and Trey Difficile. They can't answer a basic question. They do things not in a way you would think things should be done. They don't make any sense. They're sassy as all get out, and they lie. Judson Welcher had the sassiest attitude. Watching him for 2 days on the stand, I wanted to throw him. He was so sassy. The basic, most simple questions from hunky Alessie, he was like, well, I mean, I don't know. What? Actually, it's the flux capacitor. Actually. He's like, so today is Tuesday, Mr. Welcher? Well, I mean, actually, it's Tuesday. Okay. That's how you say it in Latin or something. Actually, it's a day of the week known as Tues. And you're like, what? Shut it down. Shut it down. He was so, and they hide a lot of shit too. I'm so creeped out still that this man, Judson Welcher, dressed up as John O'Keefe. Like it's damn Halloween. Like it's a costume party. As he's trying to be a biochemical engineer douchebag. I don't know. But once he was done with his testimony today, he was like, oh, thank God. That's what we all think, sir. So let's play a little bit of our friend, Judson Welcher, who could up about his load. Okay, so we're going to play video by the trial channel. Shout out to the trial channel. They take out all the sidebars. So it's just straight trial. None of the sidebars, none of the other stuff. So something that would be like 4 hours is like an hour 45 because they edit it down, take out the breaks. If you want to subscribe to the trial channel, which I recommend you do because they're fantastic, the link is in the description. Also, if you want to support the channel, you can always send a super chat while we're live. You can send a super thanks after the video posts. If you're on the replay crew, hello. You can hit me up on the Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, or you can consider joining a membership here on YouTube or on Patreon. Also, there's this new thing on YouTube. I don't even know what you call us. If you're a creator or whatever on YouTube, they sent us a email saying now they're ranking you guys in the live chat. I don't know if they do it in the comment section after the fact, but let me pull it up here. So you can be the #1 in the chat. And I think it depends on your engagement. So how many comments you leave. If you do super chat, super thanks, things like that, it bumps you up. And then you're seen as a #1. I really don't understand it yet because I only read half the email because that's all I was interested in reading. But if you guys want to check it out, like right now, #1 is Jess. No, we have a community leaderboard. That's what it's called. Jess is #1. She's got 75 XP. Is that points? I don't know. We need Judson Welcher here to very to patronize us and explain this in a in a rude way. Hope is number 2. Digital Carnival is number 3. So those are our top 3 in the leaderboard. Congratulations. I don't know what you win, but I feel better about you. So congratulations, Jess. You did it. You're doing the damn thing. And it can change depending on how many comments and things you leave. So have fun with that if that's fun. I don't know. I don't know why. That must maybe be a Twitch thing that they're trying on YouTube. I don't know. Welch's grapefruit juice. Yeah, another way to feel bad about yourself. You can be 1, 2, or 3 or not score at all. Just leave a ton of comments in the live chat and it'll probably bump you up. I don't know. Play around with it. See how long. See if it's fun. I don't know. Shout out to YouTube. They're trying to keep us young and fun, even though I don't understand half the shit they're doing here. But they're like, hey, we have this new feature. And I'm like, yeah? Now you can rank your chatters. Okay. Me? No, we will. Okay. Based on what? Stuff. Okay. Cool. I think it's kind of similar to Twitch. But like Haru said, thank you all for supporting. Smash that like. Okay. Was anyone else, before we get into kind of jumping around this testimony and roasting it, if you don't know, we take a comedic look. I'm very opinionated. That doesn't mean you have to have the same opinion as me. Okay, you're welcome to sound off in the live chat and the comment section, and we can just respectfully agree to disagree or not. There's me. I don't know why I shared my own screen. It's late. My brain is like, you should probably go to bed. But then it's also like, you should probably party. You should probably hang out with your friends online and talk about a case that you're hyper-focused on. Because that would be super cool. Okay, the right one. I love how I shared myself. But before we get into that, was anybody else freaked out by the amount of times Judson was talking about spreading his load out? I was just like taking the little notes while I was listening to his testimony today. And he's like, you got to spread your load out. You got to distribute your load. When you have, this is a quote from Judson Welcher, the expert for the prosecution, the Commonwealth, to recreate, reconstruct the crime and prove through their expertise that John O'Keefe, in fact, was hit by Karen Read's car, and that was the reason that he perished. The guy said, when you have distributed loads, you can take much more. I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry. What did you say, sir? When you have distributed loads, you could take much more. I was like, Jen! I was freaking out.
Jen!
It's unnecessary. The amount of times this man talked about loads and his load. He also said he made an example of sitting on the bed. So he made it. People are going, it's not supposed to be sexual. Then why is he talking about sitting on a bed? Okay. That is sexy, right? When you're talking about loads, unless I guess you could fold a load of laundry on your bed. You could sleep on a load. Anyways, he was making it sexy on purpose. He was trying to be sexy. And it was gross. So he's talking about sitting on a bed. That's an example of spreading your load out. What are you talking about? What is he talking about?
John's boyfriend, Karen Read, killed him.
Sitting on the bed. That's an example of spreading out your load. Then he was talking about depends on the size of your load. I was like, it's not just size. Okay? Not only size matters, Judson. Don't be a sizist. You're weird. The guy was just weird. Check his hard drive. Check his fucking hard drive. Oh, God. He said load. He was talking about loads. I was doing loads of laundry, because I am a Catholic. So I am obviously very, very good. No, I'm not practicing, but I do have all my sacraments minus death. Okay. That's the next one. Anyways, Judson Welcher, the big man on campus, was having so much fun talking about his load. Okay, so this is the beginning of the day. Right away, the defense took a hit from Judge Bev. Judge Bev came in and she was like, "What's up, everybody? Okay, it's Thursday. We're probably going to do a half day. Okay, look at my bangs. They got a fresh trim. I'm looking bodacious. I'm coming days off the BBL. Remember, Bev was out. They said she won like person of the year, but she got a new ass. Allegedly, you guys, allegedly. All right, don't be gross. It was a BBL. And I know because we're friends. All right. And she told me, allegedly. Remember, everything I say is true except for the parts that are false. Objection. What are you talking about? That is just inappropriate. Overruled. It's not inappropriate. All right. Women should be open about their BBLs. Okay. If you want to get yourself a diaper booty, get yourself a diaper booty. Okay. I'm not going to stop you. I'm supporting Bev being upfront and honest. Hello, Naomi. Okay. So right out the bat, the defense takes a hit when Alessie is going to be arguing before the jury comes in. We'll just listen to it and you'll hear, and then we can talk about it. So give me a thumbs up in the chat as soon as you hear the audio on this.
All right. Good morning, counsel.
I hate to stop this soon, but girl, you just got to work. Why are we sighing? Bev will barely be BBL on her chair, and she's like, "Oh, Jesus, sorry." Producer Cordelia's like, "What are you doing?" She sighs, you guys. She barely got in her chair with her BBL, with her brand new ass, and she was just already just like, what are these deep, non-cleansing breaths? Let's listen to it one more time. Bev's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I have to do this corruption again today. It's too much. I want to go to my house, my cottage that the Nagels did not rent from me." Okay, go ahead, you guys.
All right. Good morning, counsel. Good morning, Miss Reed.
Morning.
And
Good morning. Is this something funny, Miss Reed? You think this is funny? That's it. Get out of here. Hanky pank me. Meet me in the back with some dry shampoo.
all right, Mr. Alessie, I will hear you on your argument on the voir dire.
We got a voir dire.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm just loading up my computer. Your Honor, I am going to address the Trooper Paul aspect, and then I'm going to address the Dr. Scorty Bello aspect of Dr. Welcher.
I know I've seen these women before, but there's 3 damn toe heads, like so blonde, these women in the background. I don't know who they are. God bless. I bet you wonderful ladies, but they are they're so blonde. They're just standing out there. Oh my God. Hi, ladies. What's going on? They put the self tan on and they're ready to sit in court. Does anyone know the names of these wonderful ladies? Shout out to them. But I can't help but be like, oh, wow. It's the blondest piece of blondes that ever blonded.
With regard to Trooper Paul, I would like to draw the court's attention to the following documents for the straightforward proposition that Dr. Welcher has not only reviewed, he has not.
Why is that lady looking at Alessie like that? She's like, she saw what's underneath the suit. She saw the picture.
Not only considered that he has adopted, I went back and looked at the
hope I
documents,
saw
and the
that.
basis for this as follows. Slides 22 and 23 do not just depict Trooper Joseph Paul himself. They show Trooper Paul conducting the CARS analysis on February 1st of 2022. Importantly, these slides highlight the mileage odometer of 12,665, and I respectfully request the court to anchor into that odometer reading, because I'm going to show the path that that odometer reading takes through all of the documents, but I want to emphasize the start, the genesis of the odometer reading of 12,665 miles is with Trooper Paul as he conducted the CARS analysis on February 1st. Now, here's where Dr. Welcher comes in.
Get 'em.
Dr. Welcher then uses this key data point, odometer 12,665, as the basis, the starting point for his determination of the locations and times for the events of January 29 of 2022. Dr. Welcher uses his scenario analysis of Ms.
Objection. Someone needs to get a hold of that first blonde there because she is IFN Alessie and he's old enough to be her grandfather. Somebody come clean up in the back row, please. No, overruled. What we're not going to do is shame a young woman who's got a crush on a sexy grandfather. Okay, go ahead.
Ms. Read's travels, and that's detailed on slides 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28 to calculate and then deduct 36 miles from the odometer according to Trooper Paul on February 1st of 2022 to arrive at an odometer reading of 12,629, which obviously is different from the anchor I talked about of 12,665. So the assumed odometer of 12,629, again, is based on Trooper Paul's CARS analysis in slides 22 and 23, are then used as a tether, a connection to the events recorded by the VCH in the Lexus on the following slides: 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 35, and 36. I elucidate this and I explicate the slide numbers to show how many there are in Dr. Welcher's report that are rooted in the anchor point and then the change in the deduction of the odometer. So the events memorialized by Trooper Paul on February 1st, including the odometer reading, provide the foundation for Dr. Welcher's entire analysis of the VCH events. The entire analysis of Dr. Welcher's VCH events. That is the adoption aspect of what I started with. Two more points. In addition, Dr. Welcher testified on his voir dire that the image on the left of slide 36 from his January 30th, 2025 presentation came from a file marked carsj.paul. Now, he did contend that it wasn't the exact same image, but I want to go to this. In fact, the image on slide 36 is from the drone used by Trooper Paul, and the citation for that is page 4, item 11 of the CARS report. That's where the drones are from. Dr. Welcher didn't do any drone activity. He took the drone that he had in his report that was just a little bit different than the one I was showing him. It comes from page 4, item 11 of the CARS report. And I quote, "The crash scene was documented during the on-scene investigation by utilizing Alicia's GNSS GPS mapping system and a DJI Mavic 2 UAS. This data was input to a computer-aided diagram program, which is IMS 360. Here's the key: to produce a scale diagram of this collision. So the DJI Mavic is the CARS team drone. This image of Dr. Welcher's slide 36 is clearly and indisputably from the drone. And the only drone extant is the drone of Trooper Paul and the CARS team. Last point with regard to the Trooper Paul basis in adoption of Dr. Welcher. Mr. Brennan asked Dr. Welcher on voir dire if the image from slide 36 actually came from the CERT team, which is simply not true. The CERT team, actually Lieutenant Tully with the CERT team, took about a dozen photos of the taillight in the snow in the dark around 6 p.m. on January 29, 2022. Lieutenant O'Hara said that the CERT team never traveled back to the scene again. So there were very obviously no photos or images taken by the CERT team in the daylight from the drone. And I again refer to slides 22 and slides 23, where Dr. Welcher said it was more likely than not that it was Trooper Paul in those slides, but whether Trooper Paul or not is completely overwhelmed by what I just argued and presented as specific factual basis for a review, a consideration, and an adoption of the work of Trooper Paul. Unless Your Honor has any questions, I would now move on to Dr. Scorti-Bello. Thank you. Dr. Scorti-Bello will be much shorter.
Get him, Alessie.
Mr. Woke, do we have the slide of the Dr. Scorti-Bello it's at the end of the slide presentation with her name on it? Oh.
Welcome,
Can you just
Casey.
give the slide number, please?
And as you can see, I found the picture
So
you
it is
sent
slide
me.
131. I almost know it verbatim, Your Honor, so I will continue if Ms. Gilman has slide or someone could turn it on. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. So with regard to slide 31, at the very top, and this again is a slide presentation of Dr. Welcher. So up at the very top, and so Dr. Welcher admitted that he not only reviewed the autopsy report, he admitted that he not only considered the autopsy report, he admitted that he adopted it, and I'm going to put adopt in quotes, to the extent that he used it in his slide presentation, and he actually, to show the depth of those three verbs, he's got in orange highlight under final diagnosis, multiple skull fractures, base of skull, and cavallarium. He testified, obviously, about the rear wounds of Mr. O'Keefe. He testified about how he believed those wounds came about, and he cited as corroboration the highlight of multiple skull fractures, base of skull, and cavallarium. It couldn't be any more obvious, his rooting in this document and reliance upon it. Why else would he have it in his slide presentation? And he's got the name of Dr. Scorti-Bello. And frankly, Your Honor, he didn't fight that whatsoever in the questioning of him. Then you go to underneath cause of death, blood impact, injuries of head, and hypothermia. He essentially repeated that on his testimony. And then if we could, Mr. Wilk, just go to the right. And so you've got highlighted head, skull fracture radiating from the right occipital skull and into the right parietal bone, right and left occipital foci, and bilateral anterior foci and orbital plates. Again, the highlighted means something. He's adopting it. And lastly, the depiction of the skull here, I believe that's Dr. Welcher's handwriting. I believe that's his green, the LR, because I've never seen this green highlighting before. And it could also be Dr. Scorti-Bello's. That's another possibility. I'm not sure. But let's assume sort of the most conservative part that it's Dr. Scorti-Bello's. The key part is he's got it in there and he is referencing it. So, Your Honor, the last point really for both of them, and I wanted to save this point because it applies to both. With regard to experts, the law is clear. So I think the easiest part to show what our position here is the adoption. But in it, it's clearly shown. Adoption doesn't mean you have to agree with it. You just have to put your expert hands around it, wrestle with it, deal with it. And there is no rule of law that I'm aware of that says you can't question an expert witness unless it's something that the expert witness agrees with. If the expert witness has reviewed it and considered it, and especially if they've rejected it. The easiest is obviously reviewed, considered, and adopted, but it's certainly permissible and important to a defendant's constitutional right, Sixth Amendment to cross-examination, if an expert says or even infers, I reject this, I reject what Trooper Paul did, or I reject what Dr. Scorti-Bello did, that is decision-making of an expert that the attorney has a right to be able to test. Why did you reject it? What was your thought process in rejecting it? And that applies to both Trooper Paul and Dr. Scorti-Bello, because as I understand it, this witness, Dr. Welcher, is not, he says, I'm not relying upon Dr. or Trooper Paul, which is completely false based upon what I just showed. But even if he just rejects it, in addition to what he has done, we have the right to test and get answers as to why he did it. And the same with Dr. Scorti-Bello. Once he goes to this level, Your Honor, I believe it's a straightforward right, especially of a defendant in a criminal trial, and especially of the stakes and the charges this high, that we get to test it. What I think, lastly, my point here, Your Honor, the Commonwealth is doing is this. The Commonwealth knows Trooper Paul and Dr. Scorti-Bello are problematic for their theory and their narrative. Trooper Paul has got, if you work backwards from his key cycles, you end up with 1162-2, their key cycle. That ends up being not in front of 34 Fairview, but it ends up when the Lexus is in the possession of the state. That is the result of that. And that was something that was addressed square head on in the first proceeding. We're not coming up with some fanciful ghost in the second trial. This was gone through extensively in the first proceeding. And I understand this is a new trial, but it goes to show it's not something coming out of the blue, etc. And with regard to Dr. Scorti-Bello, it was remarkable on the redirect that I've never seen a prosecution essentially go after the opinions and conclusion of their own medical examiner, when they basically said, the medical examiner, I can't call this a homicide. The manner of death is undetermined. And the medical examiner says, I don't see any motor vehicle impact injuries. There couldn't be anything more apt, more probative than whether or not the injuries to the decedent are from a motor vehicle. The Dr. Welcher himself is saying they are. That's the essence of his opinion. It's the essence of his test. We get to be able to, respectfully, Your Honor, say, well, wait a minute. You said you looked at the autopsy. You said this. You highlight it, but you're going against the medical examiner on whether there's motor vehicle injuries. The experts can't, Your Honor, cherry pick and choose from documents. They can't use it as a shield and a sword. They can't put up, for example, Dr. Scorti-Bello's autopsy report, cherry pick things to benefit from them, and then and they did it on direct. And then all of a sudden on cross, when we want to go and test that, they say, oh, no, you can't do it. Your Honor, this whole argument is absurd. And it's antithetical to the Sixth Amendment. And even if, and this is my last point, even if this were merely a civil case, this would be routine cross-examination against the expert on the side. So in conclusion, Your Honor, I respectfully request that Ms. Read and her team be allowed to exercise their constitutional right to cross-examination, the keystone of a defense in a criminal trial, cross-examination, and that they be able to take the shield that the prosecution is trying to put on us and be able to combat the sword that the prosecution has put forward with regard to trying to cherry pick from this information, and that we get to proceed. And we get to proceed undaunted from all the serial objections yesterday that interrupted my cross-examination. Thank you, Your Honor.
Alessie. I mean, Alessie just breaking it down, citing case law, citing the Constitution, bringing in this, that, Scorti-Bello here. And we're talking about, you're bringing up Trooper Paul over here and his Cars movie. When he was like, I don't know what to. Remember when poor Trooper Paul was on the stand? And they're like, well, any question they asked him, he's like, I don't know. And they're like, I think I carried the one and I think you put me in a class, and they just let him like die up there. And now we have this witness, Judson Welcher, using information from Trooper Paul. And now we're going to see what Brennan, what hanky panky. So all that, Alessie lays it out. He like chops it up, lays it out for you. It's constitutional. Let's see what hanky panky says. Polite.
What arises from the litany of complaints by the defense is that there is no.
He starts immediately insulting them. The litany of complaints from the defense. Hanky panky, just too much sass. You got too much sass in your pants. Hanky panky.
Constitutional right to usurp the rules of.
He said usurp.
What arises from the litany of complaints by the defense is that there is no constitutional right to usurp the rules of evidence. There is no case law, as much as they urge the court and yell out the word case law and constitutional right and Sixth Amendment right. There is no case law to support what they are trying to do. It is a simple endeavor that is clouded by all the rhetoric that they offer. And it is clear, and the court knows what they're trying to do. They're trying to pit the inadmissible opinion of a non-testifying witness against a testifying witness.
Yes, Hope.
They have asked Dr. Scotty-Bello what her opinion is. And although it's not consistent with our reading of the case law, they were allowed to introduce that it was an undetermined cause of death or mechanism. That evidence is already in front of the jury, but they can't simply repeat it because it sounds good to them or they think it's helpful. Simply because a witness uses a document or looks at it or uses part of an autopsy does not let them regurgitate an opinion that's already in evidence to try to phantom cross-examine an expert. Dr. Welcher is clear. He did not rely on Dr. Scotty-Bello's conclusion that this cause of death is undetermined. In fact, as an aside, he said, I wouldn't, because she's not qualified for that. And so this is a simple game. Let's pit one witness against the other and suggest that the Commonwealth's witnesses are inconsistent. They take it a step further. They want to relive what they think is their past success last year in this case without actually calling the witness. They want the jury to hear their perspective that a past witness had confusion in his analysis, but they don't want to call the witness. They want you to allow them to do that, not just shouting it out and have sustained objections, which has happened this entire case, but they actually want you to be able to allow them to ask Dr. Welch these questions, which he did not rely on. We had a voir dire. He was clear. He did not rely on the analysis of Trooper Paul. He did not rely on.
Did he just say we had a voir dire, he was queer? It was either we had a voir dire, he was clear, or we had a voir dire, he was queer. I hope it was queer, because, and we drank all your beer. We're here, we're queer, and we drank all your beer. Get used to it. That would be more fun. But I think he just said clear.
That determination or undetermined determination by Dr. Scotty-Bello. It is that simple. They try to throw some fluff out and they throw around some documents.
I like how he's like, they throw around some documents. Oh, just the actual like documents and PowerPoints and slides that your witness used, but just like some random documents, just like the Constitution and the law and shit. Nothing important. Now he's just looking through his notebook. He doesn't really have nothing.
Yeah, slide 22. Simply because there's a suggestion that Trooper Paul might be the hand in the picture is not an anchor. It's not a tether. It's not an adoption. It's no such thing. In fact, if you look at that photograph, it was taken by Zach Clark. So by the rationale of the defense, they should now be able to ask Dr. Welcher any question they want about Zach Clark's opinions, efforts, what Zach Clark did. It is a photograph that he considered, not an opinion, not an analysis. It has nothing whatsoever to do with Dr. Welcher's analysis or opinions. In fact, the evidence is to the contrary. He came out, conducted an independent analysis, did all of the work himself, considered documents, and he was specific about what.
It sounds ridiculous. He bought his own paint. He bought blue paint himself. Okay, he also went and recreated John O'Keefe's outfit. We said, listen, Judson, it's a little creepy, but he said, I have a plan here. And we went to Dunkin' Donuts, and it was a thing. Okay, and we let him. He used his own, he flexed his own creative, creepy muscles. of his single white femaleness. And yeah, and he didn't even bill us. He didn't even bill the Commonwealth for the paint. He said he had it. He also, in his garage, he also had a lot of duct tape. And I mean, a lot of duct tape. But I didn't ask a lot of questions. I just said, maybe he's got a lot of duct taping to do. I don't know.
What was part of his opinion and what was not? And this information was not part of his opinion. They turned to the Google map. Bit misleading. This was generated by Google. Two separate people use the same program, but when you look at the CARS report and you look at Dr. Welcher's PowerPoint, it's different. Dr. Welcher's has a map on the side, and when you look at the numbers themselves, the CAR report says minimum 36.1, maximum 38.8. Dr. Welcher's slide, 37.9, 38.1. So in no way did he adopt, anchor, tether, use as any basis. In fact, his is different and separate, as all of his analysis is. And so the portrayal of this necessity of information so they can sneak in inadmissible opinions with no witness, it's simply
impossible. Just can't stop. He looks like American Tail. He looks like 50 Goes West. Even when he's a sneaking like a little mouse. There's a mice and a heist.
There is no case law. There is no legal support for it. They cannot reach back into.
You're just saying that, though. What is your proof that there is no case law? And there is that, like, Alessie was actually citing things. You're just like, not true, liar. They lied.
Last year and manipulate a witness and ask him about something that he didn't rely on because it feels good or it sounds good for their case.
Felt good. He's like, Alessie, it feels good for Alessie. All his muscles and his running marathons because it feels good for him.
Dr. Welcher did not rely on Trooper Paul's analysis or reports, and he did not rely on the conclusion of Dr. Scotty Bell of undetermined. If they want to call Trooper Paul, well, maybe they can try to do that, but Dr. Welcher is not the right witness for it. These opinions to try to do a credibility row is a core preclusion in criminal law, a core preclusion. You cannot vouch for the credibility of another witness. You cannot comment. It's like asking, did the police officer lie when he said the light was red? It's the absolute same analysis. It just has a lot of icing on it.
Just a lot of icing, or a lot of examples, a lot of citations, what people would call, what hanky panky calls, just a lot of icing, no big deal. Other people would call proof. Here's something to show you why. Here is something to back up why we think this thing should happen. Hank's like, I don't need all that. I just do this. I get up there and I go, oh, okay. So they just ask a lot. Oh, they're always complaining, these fuckers. Okay, let me look. Well, I'm over here, and that's not true. It's not against the Constitution. There isn't even a Sixth Amendment. They can go fuck themselves. And you're not going to talk to Judson Welcher like that. Okay, the guy paid for his own paint. Like I said, he's got lots of duct tape. He's a little creepy, but he's doing the damn thing. And yeah, quit being big babies. If you want to call Trooper Paul, call him and ask him, but you're not going to ask any questions. Did he pull things and use it in his report? Of course he did. Okay, he used it like the goddamn Encyclopedia Britannica, but that's neither here nor there. Anyways, overall, the defense can go fuck themselves. I'm getting paid $500,000 for this, and we're paying them $500,000. I'm done. That was his whole. I mean, Alessie broke it down. Exhibit A, Exhibit B. Look at this photograph. Look at this slide. Constitution and law. And what's his nuts? Hank Brennan is just like, and then fuck you and shut up. That's it. Like, oh my God. Did it. When I watched this live, I'm thinking, oh, geez, Bev is for sure going to rule in favor of the defense on this one because Hank brought nothing to the table other than a sassy bitch attitude.
Very briefly, start getting the jury ready, please.
Your Honor, with regard to Trooper Paul, Mr. Brennan did not address 80% of the slides that I addressed that showed the basis. When he talked about the picture, making it seem like the picture is the only thing we're relying upon, there's clearly other items. But even the picture, Your Honor, the purpose of the picture is it's got the odometer reading. That's why they took the picture, and that's the tether. So the photo is completely relevant. It's not who's in it. It's the fact that that's the odometer reading they're using. Next point with regard to case law. Mr. Brennan presents none to go against the common sense law that has been there for years. The other thing, Your Honor, is with regard to Mr. Brennan keeps trying to put my arguments into a credibility, like we're trying to attack the credibility of Trooper Paul. He says that we're trying to redo last trial. To the contrary, Your Honor, it's the Commonwealth that brought Trooper Paul into the second trial through Dr. Welcher and Dr. Welcher's reliance on all the work of Trooper Paul. They brought it in here, and because of that, we get the right to cross-examine it. Last point. This is not about credibility. He keeps saying something that's not happening, that we're going to attack the credibility of Trooper Paul. What we want to do is to say to Dr. Welcher, you have brought up Trooper Paul. You have used his odometer reading. That odometer reading tethers through to Google. It tethers through everything you're doing. It's the foundation. But what you're ignoring, Dr. Welcher, are all the key cycle results that come from that odometer reading that you relied upon. Dr. Welcher himself can't cherry pick, grab things that he needs from Trooper Paul to do his analysis, and then the Commonwealth say, but you can't go after that because it somehow has Trooper Paul's name on it. It's illogical, Your Honor, and it's incorrect under the law. Thank you.
It is illogical. It isn't. I mean, anyone can, you just look at the basis of someone putting an argument forth, and Hank proved nothing. And he looks ridiculous. He looks like he's just complaining. And just like Alessie says, he didn't even address my points as to why I think this at all. And Hank's like, I don't even care. I'm not saying nothing. I didn't even get to my Dunkin' Donuts this morning. We were running late. Bev's blow dryer was broken. I mean, I wasn't with Bev. I mean, I was. So the prosecution itself bringing Trooper Paul's work into it, they're just like, no, not true. Not true.
So I disagree with you, Mr. Alessie.
What? On what basis? Just because you just don't want to agree with what appears to be the right thing? I mean, that's how this whole trial is. Ever since I started watching it and paying attention to it, I was like, holy shit, this shit is weird. This shit is corrupt. What is going on? This is strange. I disagree with it, Alessie. Did you put a lot of work into it? Yeah. Are you right? Of course you are. Did Hank cite nothing, prove nothing, and say nothing other than no, don't do it, I don't want to, and I don't like it? Yeah. But I still disagree with you. Because my heart belongs to the Commonwealth. I mean, even the way the courtroom is set up. You have I've never seen a courtroom like this, honestly. Maybe this is common and I'm just stupid. But they're literally in the front, right by Bev. Like, I got my faves, and then I got the trash behind them. They're literally ahead of the class. Aren't they one here, one here? I mean, I watch Law and Order. I know what time it is. I saw A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth, okay? Why are they sitting in front of them? Is it just because of the size of the courtroom? Could you take out a couple seats and make it look normal?
I'm not allowing in the line of questioning regarding Trooper Paul, and I'm not allowing the line of questioning regarding Dr.
Cordy just tried to get on the desk, and she fell. Producer Cordy, you okay, baby? She's like, I'm out of here, bitch. How dare you have a slippery desk? She's pissed. Okay, I gotta play that again.
So I disagree with you, Mr. Alessie. I'm not allowing in the line of questioning regarding Trooper Paul, and I'm not allowing the line of questioning regarding Dr. Scotty Bello. So that's my ruling. Let's bring the jury in.
We can't talk about what's right in front of us. The same way we can't tell the jury that we're referring to the feds when we're talking about that other police department that looked into this case. We can't tell them it was the feds, because that would just be the truth. And obviously they can't handle the truth. So then that was the first thing right out the gate this morning that I'm like, holy shit. Starting off strong, right? It's the JV and the varsity. All right, here we go. Now we're back to Judson Welcher, the stud who won't shut his laptop.
We're going to ask you to not turn on your computer yet.
Now, the fact that he even has his computer up there is weird. Every lawyer that I watch is like, that's freaking weird. The dude could be Googling. The dude could be looking at Cornhub. We don't know. But oh my God.
Okay. Your Honor, if I could, smartwatches that are receiving text messages during his direct, if we can make sure that that does not occur.
Was he getting text messages during his direct?
Okay, or just don't look at your watch.
Oh my God, he's getting text messages on his damn watch.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Aperture telling me, okay, don't answer this question. Answer. It's Trooper Paul. He's just explaining to me. I've used his casework from the last case. Can I just text him back real quick? Sorry, Trooper Paul. I have to pretend we're not in communications with each other. Thank you for all your help with my 142 PowerPoint slides. I'll call you later. Hopefully you're doing well and you're not sweating or stuttering. Make sure to take deep breaths when you get nervous. XOXO, Judson Welcher. P.S. I bought you one of the t-shirts I got to recreate the John accident scene. I got you one too. Okay, bye. Sorry, I had to get back to him. Oh, Jesus.
Morning, Dr. Welcher.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Do you know whether there was glass found on the bumper of Miss Reed's Lexus SUV?
My understanding there was, yes.
Did you reach a conclusion on whether the glass on the bumper came from the drinking glass that you assert Mr. O'Keefe was holding at the time of the alleged impact?
I didn't have an opportunity to inspect the glass, but the glass was broken and there was glass on the bumper. That's all I know.
So you, as you sit here today, you have no basis to conclude that the glass on the bumper came from the glass that you depict as having been held by Mr. O'Keefe at the time of the alleged.
Whoa. I did very extensive work here. I got up, you guys. I put paint here and then paint a little here, I think. I put a little eyeliner that day so my eyes would pop in the camera when we were filming. And I walked towards the car like this. Here's the car. I'm going to walk toward it. It's coming at me 2 miles an hour. Very scary. And I went very casually. Oh, see? That's what happened. And I know that because I'm an expert. Biochemist with Aperture. I know John O'Keefe was walking like this with the glass. He was 6'1". I'm 6'1.5". Okay. Again, in case you missed it, here's the tail light. Here's the paint. Wait, here's the paint. Here's my arm. I am going to a party. I'm going to a party at the Albert. Oh! And that is the recreation of the crime. Seriously? That's what happened. Beyond a reasonable doubt. I know he was holding his arm like this, and I know he ran in. Karen backed up. She was flying at 2 miles an hour. Beep, 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 and where is my $325,000? I'm a fucking genius.
The alleged impact, is that correct?
Well, you mentioned a couple things.
Oh, no, Dr. Welcher, if you can just answer my question. If I need to rephrase it, I will. I'll ask it a different way.
Please.
You have no basis, as you sit here today, to conclude that the glass on the bumper came from a drinking glass connected to Mr. O'Keefe, do you?
Well, we have a picture of a broken glass at the scene. So I wouldn't say we have no basis. We don't necessarily have enough to conclude it's from it, though.
Do you had depictions in your test with Mr. O'Keefe holding a glass, correct?
Correct.
My question is, you have no evidence to show at all other than, and I'm talking evidence, testing information, you're saying you have no evidence that shows that the glass on the bumper is not the same glass as you showed on your slides as being found supposedly at the scene. You have no test evidence that that's the same glass, do you?
So again, the one I have at my testing obviously was not the same glass. We have pictures of a broken bar glass in the snow near where Mr. O'Keefe.
It's just so stupid. It is literally so stupid. Thank you, Liz. Thank you. And you guys, I did gift some memberships earlier. So congrats to those of you who got the memberships. But it's just so stupid. He's like, I went into my local Bennigan's and I said, can I buy a glass off you? Low ball, high ball, any ball. I'll take all the balls. I want to blow my load here. So now, and he starts with his hands. He's like, well, here's okay. Every question Alessie asks, his answer is, well, let me just, can I finish? Can I finish? And half of the questions are yes or no. He's like, Chair City, thank you so much for the super chat as well. Says, oh, I needed this laugh after listening to this guy. You're the best. Thanks for helping our sanity. We're bringing levity to the law. That's all we can do over here. We're not smart. We're not a smart lawyer channel. We're just a silly comedy channel.
His body was. We have glass fragments on the rear of the bumper. That's the extent of my knowledge on the correlation between those two.
This is so stupid.
So you said you reviewed the reports and testimonies of various Commonwealth representatives, correct? That's in your report.
Correct. In the initial,
right, correct. And some of those reports included forensic scientists who work for the Massachusetts State Police, correct?
I believe that's correct.
And you put those in your report as documents that you reviewed, correct?
Correct.
And as you sit here today, it's your testimony. You don't know whether in any of the reports of the Massachusetts State Police, there is an answer to the question of whether there's any connection at all between the glass found in the snow and the glass on the bumper.
I recall it being inconclusive.
Oh, so you recall that the testing was inconclusive?
I don't remember what testing they did, but for example, when they put the taillight fragments back together, they were able to deduce that the fragments were from the taillight. I don't think they attempted to do that with the glass.
Assume that there has been testing of the glass on the bumper, and assume that that testing conclusively determines that the glass on the bumper is not the glass that was found in the snow.
Okay.
Assume that.
Okay.
How would that affect your analysis?
I don't want to know where the glass came from, but we still have a whole bunch of other elements. So I don't think it would affect the end results.
So would it have any part in your analysis with my assumption that the glass on the bumper is not the glass that's associated with the broken glass that was supposedly found in the snow?
Yes. I mean, we always want to have as much answers or as many answers as possible. So I would want to know if we could figure out where it came from.
And wouldn't the fact...
We always want to have as many answers as possible to create the most reasonable doubt. As many probabilities and possibilities as possible. We never know anything for sure. We never know anything for maybe. We know maybe 50-50, usually 60-40, sometimes 20-80. You know what I mean? Okay, we're going to fast forward a little bit through this. And shout out to the trial channel because I think they have timestamps. Oh, how I love Z. Well, they can only do so much with timestamps on this one. They're not going to be like, specifically, he talks about this at this time, but their time stamps are so appreciated. Let's just jump ahead a little here, buddy. Okay.
Your work.
Absolutely. The photogrammetry.
I just need that ring.
It's in the photogrammetry. The camera and the laser scans are not used necessarily with each other.
The photogrammetry.
Was that ring camera used for any part of your work?
Absolutely. The photogrammetry.
I just need to be able to finish my question, sir. Was that ring camera used?
Shut up. Shut up, you weasel, like you guys are saying in the chat. He's like, can Alessie answer his question? This guy is that kind of guy that thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. He's the guy that talks more than he listens, which means he's the dumbest guy in the room. This is the reason he is an executive vice president or executive vice president. This is the reason why most Americans hate executives. Why we can't relate to them. We don't have a lot of sympathy or empathy for them because they're so far removed from reality and they come off as such elitist dickheads that we're just like, okay, gross. This is why any corporate job you have and there's an executive, you're like, and they're like, and they make jokes and you're like, that's not funny. You're not funny. Get away from me. Leave me alone. You make too much money. Okay. Laughing. I don't make enough money to be laughing at these stupid jokes. Sorry. All right. Maybe if I made your money, I could be like with you and your buddies. But since I don't, I also don't have the PTO, the sick time, or, you know, the ability to just work remotely and do whatever the frick I want and get paid an exorbitant amount of money that I don't deserve. Please leave me alone. Please get away. I don't care if you bring, you know, donuts once a month. That's not enough. I want more money. I want more days off. Okay. Also, stop having one-on-one meetings. I don't need to see you all the time. Am I doing my job? Then leave me the fuck alone. Leave us alone. If we're doing our job, leave us alone. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to meet with you. I don't want to laugh with you. I want to get paid and I want to go home. Okay, I digress. But he gives me that energy. Just like...
Are used for any part of your work at One Meadows on October 2nd, 2024.
Yes.
And it was used.
He doesn't know
for
where the
what
vagina
purpose?
is. Allegedly.
In the photogrammetric process, to establish the position and dimensions of various things in the video. So then we could go back and overlay the vehicles and track the tracks in the snow, as well as look at the damage to the vehicles.
Right. So this was used to, as a basis,
Daryl.
not the only one, to establish dimensions of the other work that was done in analysis at One Meadows, correct?
Correct.
You can take that down, Mr. Wolf. You know that the Ring camera at One Meadows, in existence when Aperture did the work on October 2nd, 2024, was different than the Ring camera that was in existence on January 29th of 2022, the date where you went through to see if those two vehicles aligned. Is that correct? The cameras are different.
That is correct.
And you know that the cameras are different, and you knew that as part of your analysis, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Did you document the differences between the two cameras as part of any work performed at One Meadows?
Yes.
And did you measure any differences there might have been between the location of the newer Ring camera from the older one that was in existence on January 29th of 2022?
No. What we did is use the current Ring camera in conjunction with the old Ring camera, and with the laser scans, we're able to again map the points onto the scene. That's why I showed you the report from the photogrammetry software that reported our error.
Sir, my question is just measurement, not your process.
Oh.
Did you measure the difference
I don't believe
between where the old camera was and where the new camera was?
No, it was angled slightly more to the right, though.
How would you know that if you were not retained on January 29th of 2022? How would you know where the original angles were?
Because when you look at the first camera, the one on January 22nd, it's here. The new one is slightly over to the right.
That's an eyeball approximation analysis. That's not a measurement, correct?
That's literally how every ADHD person makes food, cooks, bakes, all of the above. Is we kind of eyeball it. We're like, that'll probably work. Read the directions. I already threw them away. I got to dig through the trash. He's just like, yeah, whatever. I think it was like, I think the Ring camera was here. And then when I looked at it again, it was here. And Alessie's like, that's just you eyeballing it. Or is it a fact, according to Judson Welcher?
Well, I don't know that we actually measured it, but we accounted for it and corrected for it. But you can see, for example, what the original one shows, for example, to the left-hand side, compared to what the new one shows to the left-hand side, and it's angled more to the right.
Sir, you have experience with Ring cameras, correct?
I do.
And I think a lot of members of the public have experience with Ring cameras. You can move
I love them.
just the camera portion ever so slightly and change significantly the angle of the camera, can't you, what it captures? Just a small turn.
Potentially.
Right? Even a millimeter turn can make a change. A 2 millimeter, a 1 inch can make a significant change with regard to what the camera captures, correct?
Good, sure.
So, did you measure whether the newer camera that was present on October 2nd, 2024 was installed to the left? And I'm talking measure to the right, to the top, or the bottom relative to the camera that was there on January 29th of 2022.
So
Right.
We solved for the camera
I'm
position.
asking if you measured.
Oh, no, we didn't measure.
So let's talk about some other differences with regard.
I didn't measure. No, I didn't do that. I'm just an engineer. I'm just a biochem. I don't know.
to cameras and ring cameras. Different ring cameras can have different levels of distortion, correct?
Potentially.
Cameras, well, are you saying that all ring cameras have the same level of distortion?
No, but again, they're mass produced, so you could have some that have the same exact distortion. You could have some that have different.
And you don't.
This guy's whole testimony is you could have, and you could not, and it could be, and it could not be. But in the end, when they ask me, this is exactly how it happened. You're like, what? Oh my gosh, let's fast forward a little bit further.
Ring cameras have a swiveling mechanism so that the user can adjust the camera angle.
Some do.
Some
Do you
do,
know
some
whether
don't.
the camera that was in existence on January 29th,
really.
2022 had a swiveling mechanism?
I believe it did.
Believe, do you know?
I do not know for a fact, but those style of ring cameras on the survey.
Why are you here as an expert? You don't know anything. But you can tell us that there's no way that Karen Read's taillight was broken when we clearly see her on the ring camera run into John O'Keefe's Traverse or whatever car he had when she was leaving at like 5 a.m. He's like, definitely couldn't do that. No way. He doesn't know if it swivels. He doesn't know what direction. He doesn't know what the resolution's like. He doesn't know where it's put. He doesn't know anything. All he knows is what he pulled from Trooper Paul's report.
Surveillance have adjustability that includes angle.
But you don't know whether the camera that was there, the specific camera on January 29th, 2022, had a swiveling mechanism or not, correct?
Correct.
And do you know whether the camera that you saw in October of 2024 had a swiveling mechanism on it?
It did.
Good point.
And where did you document the fact that it had a swiveling mechanism?
I think we have photos of the camera.
Did you document it in writing, and did you document the tolerance of the swiveling mechanism?
No.
Let's go to, and,
Why
and
would I
again,
document it?
all of the camera, this camera that you use is the starting point for your laser scan and photogrammetry process, correct?
Correct.
All right. Let's go to another topic. On your direct testimony, as I recall, you stated essentially from various information that you lined up in the video, and we're talking about the lining up of the Lexus with the Traverse. And this is at One Meadows. And so, as I understand what you did, sir, is you took what are called point clouds, 3D images, created them for the Lexus. You took
These 3D images.
created 3D images, synonym point clouds of the Traverse, and then you attempted to line them up to determine, among other things, whether they would align sufficient so that the Lexus could line up and potentially hit the Traverse such that the tail light of the Lexus could be broken. Was that at least part of your analysis?
That was part. There was more.
So
There was more. There's more. Very detailed.
you showed a slide, a few slides, and with your honor's permission, what I'd like to do
Yeah,
is
let's
to
see
start
these
with
slides.
slide 90.
All right, do you have any problem with Dr. Welcher keeping his printed copy that he's using?
I have no problem with the printed copy, your honor.
I'm sorry, what slide again?
90.
Laptop. You perv.
Your Honor, my printer is tiny.
Okay.
Can I
Can
pull
you
it?
see the?
Yes. Yeah.
Why are you always talking to Bev? Leave it alone. You're gonna
Does
keep
that
spitting the bang.
slide, as part of your presentation, depict the view from the top of the Lexus on the right and the Chevy Traverse on the left?
Correct.
And is that depicting contact between the two vehicles?
It is.
Now let's zero in a closer look, and that is a contact point. Am I correct?
Correct. I mean, there's multiple points. There's more than
Multiple
one.
points, but it shows more clearly the contact
Correct.
between the two vehicles. Now, if we could. The next, and that is number 91, Mr. Wolf. So, Your Honor, 91. I think these are just going to go in order for a few, and I'll keep announcing them. So, this is 91, same vehicles, just a different viewpoint. Is that correct, Dr. Welcher?
Correct. This and the next
I
slide.
just want to stay
I know.
with this one. I just
Hold on a
asked the
second.
question, does it show the contact?
So go ahead and answer now.
This slide and all the other slides, we're trying to show the angle of contact, but because it's two-dimensional image, you're losing some perspective. For example, here you're seeing the chrome piece on Mr. O'Keefe's Chevrolet, which is on the right. You're seeing it obviously behind where the Lexus is. So we are trying to show it at a whole bunch of different angles to try and illustrate the degree of closeness or lack thereof.
All right. So
Thank you.
is it correct that on your direct examination, you said in sum and substance we looked at the degree of overlap, and there's only about a 2 to 3 millimeters of overlap between the vehicles. Is that what you recall saying on direct?
That is correct.
And that you stated that supposed 2 to 3 millimeters of overlap was insufficient to cause the taillight of the Lexus to contact the rear of the Chevrolet. You recall saying that?
That's correct.
Now, I would like you to look at that. This is from your slide presentation.
This is so
Is that
shitty.
not showing contact between the two vehicles?
Oh, it absolutely is not. What you're seeing is a portion of the vehicle.
What the fuck? They're touching. They're touching. All of his slides and his presentation is trash. The fact that they're paying Aperture this much for this garbage. Remember the way on direct how he showed his 140 some slides and they were like chopped up, weirdly collaged, like unorganized, just awful to look at.
That is behind the area. Keep in mind the angle, the Lexus is angled off to the left. So the area that you see here is actually in the space in front of where the taillight is. This is why we tried showing it from a whole bunch of different angles, because when you try and take a two-dimensional image and look at it, you see stuff in the background. So and again, this is why in the computer, we overlaid them, looked at the measurements in the computer where you don't have this, we have the three-dimensional measurements, and it does not hit.
Where did you show in your slide presentation what you just said, that it doesn't show an overlap?
So
Where?
it shows a contact. It definitely contacted, I'm sorry, Mr. Porter, down below here.
You just said it didn't show a contact. Kylie says this PowerPoint looks like a sixth grader put them together. And that's an insult to sixth graders. A sixth grader could do better than this.
Does not show a contact here. So to answer your question, all the next slides were our attempt to do that. So all the next slides is your answer.
Why is he so handsy? Why are you so handsy? Why are you so handsy? Why are you so handsy towards Alessie? Put your hands down. Sir, this ain't cheer squad. Put your hands down. He's like, I did it. I did it. FAILUER. Fail. Oh no. Oh no.
We're going to go to those next slides. So just to be clear, you're saying that depiction does not show any contact between the taillight of the Lexus and the Chevy Traverse.
So the upper taillight, just to be clear, because
The upper, they were making out. The upper was making out with the Chevy Traverse because the Chevy Traverse is a slut.
lower taillight is much closer.
Well, it's not only much closer, it's in contact, isn't it, sir?
It's very close. It's probably within an inch being in contact.
Oh, so you say that even the lower part of the taillight is not making contact?
So again, maybe there's a photo we could show or a scan. That is on the rear of the vehicle, and it contacts on the corner, which is just around, so maybe like an inch or so in front of it on the corner.
I'm just going with what you presented in your slide
Well, let's go to the next slides, and then
sir, I will determine which slides we go to on my questioning.
I'm just
Oh, you got the smackdown. Suck it. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed for you. We gotta slow that down. Because by this time we're 2 days in. Now we're over an hour because this is the trial channel's video, and they take out all the sidebars and stuff. Alessie's had it. This guy's trying to lead the cross-examination, and he thinks he's running shit. Sir, you ain't running shit. You're not running shit. He's trying to, thinking he can like fool people, thinking he can go, can you say it? I don't understand what your question is. And that he's doing something to confuse people. Alessie's had it.
hopefully
now
answer your
let's
question.
go to Mr. Wolf, the next slide.
There we go.
In your presentation, my question is zeroing in. Are you saying that slide does not show contact between the tail light of
Wait, do I rewind it now?
Like an inch or so in front of it on the corner?
I'm just going with what you presented in your slide
Well, let's go to the next slides, and then
Sir,
maybe
I
we'll see.
will determine which slides we go to on my questioning.
I'm just hoping
So
to
now
answer your
let's
question.
go to Mr. Wolf.
Sir, you stay seated on the cuck chair. Alessie is leading. Okay? He will be having sex with your wife tonight. You will be on the cuck chair. Okay? You're just watching. You're not running anything. Oh my, I'm so embarrassed for this man. He was, oh yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay, great. Okay. One more time, because it was just, after watching this man for 2 days, I was like, yes.
That is on the rear of the vehicle, and it contacts on the corner, which is just around, so maybe like an inch or so in front of it on the corner.
I'm just going with what you presented in your slide
Well, let's go to the next
presentation.
slides and then
Sir,
maybe
I
we'll see
will
it.
determine which slides we go
Okay.
to on my questioning.
I'm just hoping
So
to
now
answer your
let's
question.
go to Mr. Wolf, the next slide.
He's like, seriously, still like Milton from Office Space. I was just hoping to answer your question because I was told that I was going to get to hold the gavel. Bev told me that I was going to get to hold the gavel, but nobody's let me hold the gavel. So I'm just going to blow up the court. No big deal. Like, oh God, sir, pathetic. Ugh, gosh.
There we go.
In your presentation,
There you go. There you go. Can't
my
stand that.
question is zeroing in. Are you saying that that slide does not show contact between the tail light of Miss Reed's Lexus and any part of the Chevy Traverse?
Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly what it shows. You can see a little better here. Again, we tried all these different angles, which is why all these slides are in there. But you can see some of the geometry of the light. This structure, and again, remember I said the Chevy kind of curves in as it goes up a little bit.
My staple.
Let's go to the next slide.
Next slide. Get him, Alessie.
Is it working? 41 around.
That's exhibit 41? No, I have a question. This is not my slide.
So, Mr. Alessie, is this exhibit number 4?
So now he's like, wait,
Assumed
that's
odometer
not my slide.
of 12. Assumed odometer
Wait a minute, that's not my
of
slide.
12,000
That's not my slide.
jutting out
That's not my
with
slide.
what you presented in your slide.
Well, let's go look at it.
That's not my slide.
Contact between.
On the corner, which is just
Is it working? 41 around.
You hear him? He goes, that's not my slide. That's not mine. I didn't do that.
that's exhibit 41? No, I have a question. This is not my slide.
So, Mr. Alessie,
He's like telling on the teacher. He's like, Bev, that's not my slide. I don't know what that is. That's not my slide. Thank you, Alexia, for the super sticker. I love your little baby Doog. I love your baby Doog on his big bed. That's not my slide. That's not my
is this
slide.
exhibit number 41 or is this from the PowerPoint? Because,
Slide 41.
Because he's having a hissy.
okay.
He's having a whole hissy to Bev. Even Bev's not here for it. She's like, is this exhibit? Or is this just a slide? Because he's about to cry. I looked down, he wet himself. But we don't have time for him to get new pants, so he's going to have to sit in his piss pants, and I'm going to plug my nose. Go ahead. Keep going. Alessie. We'll have a half day, and he can change his pants at the half day.
Yes.
So I'm putting this up because I want to show an actual photograph
Look at
of
this
that tail
photograph.
light. And I would like you, sir, to focus on the quarter panel
He totally tattled Catherine.
tail light in each. Do you see a jutting out of the quarter panel tail light in that photo? You see it jut out?
So I don't know if you and I are talking the same thing. There are little fins here.
Correct. Now,
Do you see it? Because I see it jutting out. So you could just say yes. Oh, we're not talking the same thing. Are you talking about the fins? What? The fins?
what I'd like to do is to go back
Okay,
to
SeaWorld.
the depiction we were just looking at. And that depiction doesn't show the jutting out, does it?
No, it does.
No, it doesn't. It's jutting in. That's jutting in.
Those are actually more on the side of the vehicle. You can't see them in this image.
Correct. You
But-
can't see them.
Hold on a second. I wasn't finished. But
Oh my God, sassy. Sassy Frassy. Hold on a second. I wasn't finished. I wasn't finished. No, oh, you've been finished, sir.
they are 100% there. We actually did special hand scans with a hand scanner of the taillight to put it back on to the vehicle.
You say they're 100% there, but you can't see it in that depiction, can you? The jutting out that you could see in the two-dimensional one we just saw. You can't see it.
I can't see who's behind that wall because it's being blocked by something. I can't see on the side of that taillight because it's on the side I can't see. It's being blocked.
Sir, my question is simple. You cannot see the jutting out of the taillight in this depiction, can you?
Correct.
Okay, now let's go on to the next question in this topic. You could have easily solved what you consider to be the issues you had with trying to show it lining up, couldn't you, sir? You had an easy solution for that.
I took the best solution. I'm not sure what
You
you're
had
referring to.
3D images, correct?
I did.
You could have shown and measured 3D images to get almost the exact contact point and almost the exact dimensions if you had just used the 3D images that you had available to you. Isn't that correct?
That's exactly what we did. When I went through the video analysis, I showed you how we overlaid the point clouds, the 3D scans on top of each vehicle. So we took the, I'm sorry, we took
Sir,
the
please
vehicles.
don't interrupt. You're on.
Oh my God. Wax on, wax on. Like, what is going on, Danielson? Why this is too much. It's too much. That's exactly what, no. He's getting so sassy, and this is where Alessie's not having it. And I'm so curious to know how the jury was reacting to this exchange. If they see him, like a lot of us see him, like a douchebag who just won't give a straight answer and is like, excuse me, and then interrupts Alessie and then gets mad at Alessie for interrupting him and saying, hey, let me finish my question. I'm just so curious how the jury sees this, or if they think Alessie's being a dick. I don't know.
I showed you how we overlaid the point clouds, the 3D scans on top of each vehicle. So we took the, I'm sorry, we took
Sir,
the vehicles.
please don't interrupt.
Hold on.
Your Honor, he keeps referencing my hand and saying I'm doing something when I'm not. And I think that's distracting to the jury.
Sir,
I'm not interrupting him.
Hold on. Let the witness answer the
I
question.
am. I'm just holding my hand like this, Your Honor. He keeps saying that I'm doing something.
Alessie, please.
This is such a hilarious exchange. Your Honor, he keeps saying, I love that Alessie is just like, no, he keeps saying that I'm doing something that I'm not. With his hands. He's putting his hands up. He's like Miley Cyrus. I put my hands up, they're playing a song. Okay. Oh my God. Bobbing my head like
Jury, I'm not interrupting him.
Hold on. Let the witness answer the
I
question.
am. I'm just holding my hand like this, Your Honor. He keeps saying that I'm doing
Mr.
something.
Alessie, please.
All right.
Go ahead, finish the answer, Dr. Welcher.
Again, in the photogrammetric analysis, I showed the video. I showed how we overlaid the point cloud on top of the video. That proves that the way we solved it.
Oh, is that John? Is that Sue from the Boston? What is she from the Boston newspaper? The short hair lady? Because I was reading through some of her tweets. So thank you for quoting that. He's saying one juror is shaking his head back and forth as Welcher explains how this is a 3D image from Sue O'Connell. It's so bad. And hearing that this jury is younger. So it's safe to bet that they are more technically inclined. Yes, sometimes I remember to check her reactions. That's fantastic. Thank you for bringing that in, John. I appreciate it, because I'm just like, what are they thinking with this guy? But I love that Alessie is just like, he's saying I'm doing something with my hand. I'm not doing with my hand. It's like two brothers fighting, and Bev's the mom, like, God damn it, I'm gonna turn this car around. You stop it. Keep your hands in the car. We're not going to Dunkin' Donuts. You two don't knock it off. Sit on your hands,
Correct. Again.
Let the witness answer the
I
question.
am. I'm just holding my hand like this, Your Honor. He keeps saying that I'm doing
Mr.
something.
Alessie, please.
All right.
Go ahead, finish the answer, Dr. Welcher.
Again, in the photogrammetric analysis, I showed the video. I showed how we overlaid the point cloud on top of the video. That proves that the way we solved it, correct camera characteristics matches. Otherwise, that would be distorted. We overlaid the scans of the Lexus into the photogrammetric analysis. We overlaid the scans of the scene into the photogrammetric analysis. We overlaid all that stuff into the analysis.
Into the photogrammetric analysis. Yes, Step Brothers Nerd Edition. It's like that old Louis Anderson bit when your parents aren't looking and you pick on like your younger sibling. He's like, he won't stop touching me. He's supposed to touch me. Stop touching me. He's touching me. You're touching me. Oh, God.
We did exactly what you're suggesting.
You could have easily addressed this issue by the following. If you really believe there was no contact or not sufficient contact, you could have produced a graphic that shows a gap between the two vehicles. A graphic, couldn't you? That's not a graphic.
What is that?
Sir,
It's funny every time I watch it. Sir, that is not a graphic. What is that? What is it? What? You tell me, expert witness. What is it? What is it? What is it? Where am I? Who are we? He's having like an existential crisis on the stand. What is anything? What is 3D, 2D, 1D? What's D? Do you have a D? Do I have a D? What's an inch? Take away an inch. Blow your load. Expand your load. Spread your load. What?
If you really believe there was no contact or not sufficient contact, you could have produced a graphic that shows a gap between the two vehicles. A graphic, couldn't you? That's not a graphic.
What is that?
Sir, I get to ask the questions and you are to answer them subject to the judge's ruling. So my question is, couldn't you have created a graphic that would have better shown
What is that?
the issue that you are creating or talking about today? That's my question. Couldn't you have created a graphic?
We did. We created a whole bunch of graphics.
You called what we just saw a graphic?
Yes.
No, that's like my dad trying to make a meme. No, you just like scribbled on a picture of me. What are you talking? It doesn't make any sense. I made a meme. No, you didn't. You didn't make a meme.
Well, if there's a gap, why isn't there then something that shows a clear gap?
Because when you have the angulation of the vehicles, you have perspective. When you're looking at it, even if you do a top down, you see everything projected onto a single flat plane. So you can't tell the height of things. So when you see things in this dimension, you can't necessarily see depth of things. So you lose in two-dimensional images, you lose one dimension depending on which way you're looking. That's why I showed it from all these different angles to try and show exactly what you're saying. We had graphics to do that.
3D images allow you to show.
He just auditioned for Cobra Kai. What the fuck is going on? Oh my God, you guys. Did you? That was all the karate moves. You just did all the wax ons, all the wax offs, all the sweep the legs, all the cranes. He did it all. Okay, you took karate at the Y. We get it. That was so self-defense 101.
Well, if there's a gap, why isn't there then something that shows a clear gap?
Because when you have the angulation of the vehicles, you have perspective. When you're looking at it, even if you do a top down, you see everything projected onto a single flat plane. So you can't tell the height of things. So when you see things in this dimension, you can't necessarily see depth of things. So you lose in two-dimensional images, you lose one dimension depending on which way you're looking. That's why I showed it from all these different angles to try and show exactly what you're saying. We had graphics to do that.
3D images allow you to show perspectives for 360 degrees, correct? Is that correct?
That is correct.
So none of what you presented in your slideshow shows the
I'm sweating.
contact points.
I'm sweating in my skirt. He did the crane, you guys. He's just... Sweep the leg. Sweep the leg. I'm sweating in my skirt. Oh my God. Oh my God. I feel like I got a workout. I should have been wearing my Apple Watch. That was ridiculous. Thank you, Elizabeth, for the super chat. From my Cordelia to yours. God love Cordelia. This is insane.
From 360 degrees, does it?
I don't understand your question. Are you asking if I showed it at every single, I went through 360 slides that showed it at every single degree?
Sir, let's move on. I think I've made the point.
So I'm going to strike the comment.
Okay.
Of course you're going to strike it. But he's right. He's like, sir, I've made my point. You're a fucking idiots. You're dumb, da dum, dumb, dumb. Oh my God. I didn't notice when I first watched that there was so much jujitsu coming at us. He was like, huh? Like he was Cobra Kai till I die. This dude would be like the reject of Cobra Kai. Always on the bench, but like, I got the jacket. You know, that's him.
Dr. Welcher, let's go to the next topic.
Oh my God. Thank you, Costco.
With these two depictions.
Get it out. That's right on mine, Casey. I didn't read the rest of your comment. Costco has the best squirts. So does Old Navy right now. They have good ones.
Are these two images point clouds or 3D images? Are these
Those are one and the same thing. Yes.
I would use them as synonym. Which term of the two do you want to use? Point cloud or 3D images?
Both are fine. It's a 3D image composed of points.
Okay, so let's just call them 3D images so we can do this more quickly. The Lexus in the Chevy Traverse that are depicted there are both 3D images of those vehicles, correct?
Correct.
And Aperture created the 3D images, correct?
Correct.
Sir, did you do these scans and did you personally create these images?
No, one of the assistants at Aperture did.
So you're speaking about what somebody else did.
You can't even create a shitty scan. Why does he get paid so much money?
At Aperture, correct?
They were doing it at my direction. And for example, the Lexus scan.
Well, that explains. I'm sure the lady who was doing it was like, "This is really shitty." And he was like, "No, this is how we do it."
And I showed the photographs. You can see the gentleman that works at Aperture, Mike Morelli, was scanning them for me while I was doing the rest of the inspection. And then the hand scanning of the rear tail light was done by another engineer. I was out there with him doing it, taking measurements. And then same thing with the Chevy Traverse.
My question is, you didn't do the creation of these 3D images, did you?
The individual images, no.
All right, so let's go to these individual images. These are 3D images. Is that your testimony?
Yes.
Let's look at the taillight.
Okay.
Hey,
That's
Goldie.
not a 3D image. That's a Photoshop, isn't it?
Nope.
Oh, so it's
That's not a 3D image. That's a Photoshop, isn't it? He goes, "Nope. Nope."
your testimony that that taillight is a 3D image.
It's the worst 3D image we've ever seen. Like is that what 3D images look like? Because we don't need them then. Because then just forget it. Just forget it.
To these individual images. These are 3D images. Is that your testimony?
Yes.
Let's look at the taillight.
Okay.
That's not a 3D image. That's a Photoshop, isn't it?
Nope.
Oh, so it's your testimony that that taillight is a 3D image.
That absolutely is a 3D image. The way you can tell is when you get up near the chrome, because lasers don't like shiny objects, you start to get a scatter. So see all these dots here? If that was a photo, you wouldn't have these dots.
Let's go to the Chevy Traverse. Let's Mr. Woke zero in on the content. Yeah. There's grain on that taillight, in the taillight. That's a 3D image of a taillight, isn't it, sir?
They're both 3D images.
Well, I just want to stay with one. That taillight is a 3D image, and one of the ways you can tell is because it's got all that grainy material on it, correct?
Correct.
Now let's go back, Mr. Woke, to the Lexus. Let's now go to the bumper.
But do you want me to explain the difference?
No,
Okay.
thank you. I would like to go to the bumper.
Nope, we don't want you to
Do you
explain
see any
anything.
the predominance of any grainy image on the bumper?
There's a little bit. So for example, when you get near edges, it has a hard time with edges.
I'm sorry, the bumper cover.
Right.
See the bumper cover up above?
This whole thing is the bumper cover. That's the step pad. That's the rear body panel or the rear deck lid.
I'm talking about the step pad, sir. Just the step pad of the bumper?
Are you asking about just from here to here?
Correct. The bumper step
Can we
pad.
zoom in on it?
Pardon me?
Can we zoom in on it?
Sure.
Can we zoom in on it? Can we zoom in?
Yeah, I see graininess.
Let's go over to
Right in here. You can see it all through here. You see
It looks like dandruff. Honestly, it looks like dandruff. It looks like both of the cars have ice on them. They've been out all night in a Minnesota winter, and they have dandruff. That's what it looks like to me.
through here.
Well, I'm talking about the step pad, not the entire bumper. I'm just talking about the step pad.
Right. So you're zooming in
The thing he highlighted, sir.
on the bumper.
Right.
The step pad is this structure up here.
Yeah, that's what he highlighted, dipshit.
We're going to move up. It just takes a while. So your testimony is that is a
Can you zoom in more?
that's you would like.
What do you want to zoom in more for? Oh my God, this
Zoomed in?
guy.
Yes, sir.
Sure. Your testimony is that that is a 3D image, not a Photoshop step bumper cover. Is that correct?
So we have mapped the color over the 3D scans. We used two separate scanners. If you recall, when I got out to Miss Reed's vehicle, that taillight was gone. So we had to replace the taillight.
Talking about the bumper cover, not the taillight.
Keep up. Today, Junior, like seriously, keep up. Bro, I can't believe these are the people that make like millions of dollars. And he's probably like, deserve it. I'm really smart.
Okay, I'm explaining the problem.
Oh, okay. So that's your question, but I'm going to explain something that's totally irrelevant to your question. All right. No, that's not how it works. Answer his question.
Process.
I'm just asking about the bumper cover, not the process.
So focus your answer on the bumper.
That is a laser scan.
Okay, so you,
It's the first man ever that's just going to do it because a lady told him to. Like, he's the first dude ever that's like, okay, well, if Bev says it, if Bev tells me, then I'll answer.
your
That's a 3D
testimony
model.
is the step part of the bumper cover is a 3D image from a laser scan, and it's not a Photoshop. That's your testimony.
Absolutely.
And you didn't perform the work for the 3D
So how do you know?
that you claim the bumper step up is. You didn't do that work to produce that depiction, did you, sir? Somebody
So-
else in your firm did it.
So this is all done at my direction. The engineers that work for me,
Exactly.
so I'm telling them what to do. I'm not the one punching the keys.
That's
I'm
my
saying,
question.
I need you to do this, 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 this. and
I'm sorry. Did he just say, I'm not the one punching the keys? Do you think this is how people type? Like this? I'm not the one punching the keys. I'm doing this, and 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 I'm doing this. And you don't see me coming. Do you think typing? This just goes to show that every executive really does dick. It's the people underneath, behind them. That sounded bad, but you know what I mean. It's the people that make less money that make the world go round. Not that I'm making myself sweat. I feel like I'm working out over here. You guys, this Judson's got me doing cardio. I didn't sign up for cardio at midnight. All right. I didn't sign up for cardio. I didn't do the, I didn't type it.
this and this. Use the hand scanner, go scan the light. I need to put this back in because it was missing when we got to it. So no, I'm not punching the keys.
Okay, so
I'm not punching the keys. I'm fucking important. I'm an executive vice president at Aperture.
Okay.
Where they hire the dumbest people, clearly. There was something I saw on Twitter too with the court reporter with this guy where she leans back. She's like, oh my God. Because she deserves a raise. Give her a raise.
with regard to, no, we don't need to back up, Mr. Wilk. Isn't it correct that
The blondes are
3D
back.
images allow for
Mhm.
proper and most accurate measurements as opposed to 2D images? Is that a correct general statement?
I mean, generally, yeah.
Okay, that's my question. So let's go to the next topic. Let's talk about hydraulics on the Lexus SUV. What type of hydraulic system does the Lexus SUV have?
So it has a mechanism, I believe it's actually pneumatic. It's air-based system that raises it up and down.
Do you know what the name of that system is, sir?
No, not off the top of my head.
Do you know how it works
I do.
specifically?
Well, I mean, I know generally that there's a button on.
You know the name of it? Nah. So the car you were working on, that you're recreating this, that you're the expert in, being an engineer, do you know? Nah. I don't, no, sorry, I don't. Do you know how it works? Yeah, I mean, generally, it goes, it stops, it moves up, down, all around, air, no air, you know, basics.
Button on the interior
I think I'm an engineer. Yeah, if he is, I am.
where you can raise and lower the ride height.
And is that the extent of your knowledge of that system?
Did you say you just raise and lower? Yeah, it goes up, and that's exactly what I said. It goes up, it goes down. There's air.
On the Lexus?
No, again, I know when you park it, it'll drop down the ride height. When you adjust it for different roadway conditions, it'll change the ride height.
Do you know what the height tolerances are? In other words, the lowest to the highest?
I believe it's around 1.25 inches. At one point in time, I measured it. I don't remember off the top of my head.
So you believe it's 1.25 inches up and 1.25 inches down? How do you apply the 1.25 inches?
I recall the total being like 1.25 inches, but I measured it at one point in time. I just don't remember off the top of my head.
Would you be surprised to hear that the tolerance is 5 inches on that vehicle?
Yeah,
I would be
he'd be
surprised. I don't
surprised.
recall it being that much, but I would need to double check.
He'd be surprised if
Assume
anyone said
that-
that he was in possession of 5 inches. He would be so surprised at that. Literally, that would thrill him. 5 whole inches? He wishes.
The manual, as well as other informations, support that the tolerance is 5 inches and that specifically the vehicle can be raised 3 inches high and it can be lowered 2 inches. That's the basis for the 5. What was the suspension height of Miss Read's Lexus that you used for your accident reconstruction analysis out front at 34 Fairview between 12 a.m. and 1 a.m. on January 29, 2022, to determine whether it was possible for the spoiler on the back of the Lexus to make contact with the eye of Mr. O'Keefe. If it was even possible, what did you use for a measurement of the suspension?
Matched the measurements from when the vehicle was tested, I believe on February 1st at the Canton Police Department.
What match did you make?
So we aligned the bottom of the taillight, actually the sheet metal right below the taillight. So we adjusted the height of the Lexus to match that.
Did you in any place document what level the Lexus was at the time of any testing, meaning the suspension? Did you document it all?
Yes.
Where?
Oh my God, this guy's like,
Yeah.
let's see, here. I can't read it. I'm gonna have to have Bev read it. Bev, can you take a look at? Oh, it's a blank page. But that's. Hold on. Let me not confer with Trooper Paul. Trooper Paul, are you texting on your phone, sir? Objection. He's clearly communicating with Trooper Paul on his Apple Watch, and we told him not to. No, I'm not. Send me the information from the work you did that didn't make sense, so I can continue to not make sense. Thanks. Bye. Bev, clearly he is talking through his Apple Watch to Trooper Paul. No. Overruled. I didn't see it. I didn't see it. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Hanky Panky, you want to go? No? Oh my God.
Slide 107.
We had slide 107 as well.
Oh, yeah.
So if I may, we matched the bottom of the sheet metal here to photographs when it was at the Canton Police Department.
Sir, my question is, where did you document whether the suspension was at 0, whether it was +3 or -2? Where did you document that?
Right here.
And what are the numbers of the documentation of that?
I don't know. We were matching the photos. So I don't care what the numbers are. I care that the height is.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. I don't care. What do I care? I don't care what the numbers are. I'm matching the photo. I don't care. Sir, you should probably care. Because I know he was like, I don't know how much they're paying me. It might be this. I'm not billing. I'm just an executive vice president of the company. How would I know if we don't get paid? I'll tell you, having worked for corporate America as long as I did, you better believe these dudes know if you didn't get paid. You better believe that your finance person is talking to them when you don't get paid and how much you are getting paid and when the money's coming in. That's the reason for the season.
Okay, so I just heard you say, if I heard correctly, you don't care what the suspension.
I don't care. Shut up. I don't care. Oh, what a brat. He's such a brat.
Is that your testimony?
No, I don't care what the suspension number is as long as the heights match.
I understand. So,
which is a number. Am I a fucking, I think I'm a fucking engineer. Someone give me a PhD.
So
I'm going to change my title to engineer.
what was the suspension height of Miss Read's Lexus at 5:07 a.m. on January 29th, 2022, while at One Meadows and colliding with the Chevy Traverse? What was the suspension height then?
We assumed it was the same as when it was at the Canton Police Department.
Exactly. You assumed, but there's no measurement like was just on that depiction. There was no note that said, okay, we're doing this very important and inches sensitive measurements to see whether the taillight on the Lexus makes contact with the Traverse, but there's no measurement and no documentation of what the suspension height was at One Meadows, correct?
So we took the closest measurement in time to the One Meadows event, which is when it was at the Canton Police Department. That was the best information we had.
Well, that information isn't very good because the vehicle had to go from Canton to One Meadows. And when the vehicle drives, the way the suspension system works, it's automatic. When you go above 20 miles an hour, the suspension comes up. And when you turn off the vehicle, it goes down so you can get out easier. So it would be improper to assume that the suspension at One Meadows would be the same at another location.
That's the only, sorry.
Was there an objection? Go ahead and answer, please.
That's the extent of the information we had. We had it when it was at the Canton Police Department. We matched that height.
Sorry, I understand.
But actually, you brought up the point. It's going so slow when it's backing up that it wouldn't raise up. So the static position when it's backing up would be the static position.
But it wouldn't be going in back up from the Canton Police Department to One Meadows. It wouldn't be going back up when it's going in other locations, sir, right? It would be driving forward. It had to get from point A to point B.
Right, but as you pointed out, when you turn it off, it drops down. and then you turn it on, and then once you go above 20, as you indicated, it goes up. But when she's backing up, she never goes more than a couple miles an hour. So it's going to be at the same position as when you start, which is approximately the same position when it's off at the Canton Police Department a couple days later.
Do you know whether the suspension system locks when there is testing of the infotainment system?
No.
The suspensions? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't even know what that means. It's a suspension. Like, again, he's like, I don't know. Jeez, what do you think I am, the expert? That's crazy. This guy keeps asking me questions I should know.
Let's go on to the next topic. You're aware of the vehicle control. Excuse me, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. I want to go. I'm changing topics to go back now to Fairview, 34 Fairview. You don't know what the suspension ride height at 34 Fairview was on January 29th of 2022, do you?
Correct.
So therefore, if you don't know what the suspension height was, because of course you weren't there on January 29th, 2022, therefore was there no measuring stick, as you say, you assert that you would have accounted for it in your methodology. So you don't have the suspension height for that key day, do you, sir?
I only have it 2 days later.
All right. So when you talk about key measurements, such as the spoiler on the top of the Lexus and the inches that are important as to whether things such as, is there a contact with the front eye, you don't have some data that would be relevant to that calculation, the some data being the suspension height of the Lexus at that time, do you?
So we have some data. We have photos of the vehicle 2 days later. We don't know the exact height outside because, as you alluded to, we don't have a measurement on January 29th of it, but we do have it 2 days later. That's the source of the measurement.
You don't have the suspension height or the setting of the suspension of the Lexus that existed on January 29th, 2022, do you?
Correct.
Now let's go on to another
That's so hard
topic.
to answer.
Within the 34 Fairview on January 29th of 2022, I'm not going to go over them, but you asserted various measurements, height, width, with regard to the Lexus, correct? It wasn't just for the spoiler at the top, correct?
Correct.
And for all those other measurements that you talked about, you did not have
I was
the
supervising.
suspension height and the suspension setting of the
He doesn't
hydraulic
do this.
system of the Lexus on January 29th, 2022, did you?
So the hydraulic's only going to affect the vertical dimensions. It doesn't change anything left to right. It doesn't change anything down the side of the car.
Understood. But for the measurements that are affected by vertical,
Mhm.
you didn't have the suspension height of the Lexus system on January 29th, 2022.
Again, I only know what it is 2 days later.
So now let's go on to vehicle control history, sir. Do you understand what I mean by vehicle control history?
There's Techstream information.
Techstream info.
Are you aware of what is called the Bosch crash data retrieval system in Lexus vehicles?
Of course, we showed it on my slides.
And the Bosch crash
Of
data.
course, we showed it on my slides. We have my slides. Of course, we showed it on my slides. We just showed my slides. Did you not watch my slides? My slides. You should not be proud of those slides. They're horrendous, sir. But like William says, you were supervising. You didn't do the typity type. Okay? Oh,
Data retrieval system in
So
Lexus vehicles
sassy.
is sometimes referred to as the black box.
No, you're mixing up two things. So the Bosch is like the tools.
It's a question, sir.
So can you answer that with a yes or no?
Is the Bosch crash data retrieval system
But he's mixing up two things. He's not saying it right. But it's John, you're not saying. Oh, but you're not understanding. I didn't measure anything.
the black box on Lexus vehicles? I just wanted to repeat it so we
I
can.
didn't hear what the objection. You objected? Yeah. So the question was just asked. Can you answer that question?
No, it doesn't make sense.
The next question is.
I'm going to ask the question, sir. The Bosch crash data retrieval system in Lexus vehicles, you're familiar with that? Are you familiar with it?
There is no such thing in the Lexus.
A Lexus does not have a Bosch crash data retrieval system?
No.
Have you read the report of Trooper Paul,
Yes.
the May 2023? Does that report not use the exact words Bosch? Let me ask this. Do you recall?
Sustained. The objection sustained.
Let's go to the VCH system in
Ooh.
Lexuses.
They're like, don't bring up Trooper Paul. Even though he used Trooper Paul's work, don't bring up Trooper Paul. Trooper Paul doesn't exist, even though he exists in this report.
Is the VCH system intended by Lexus as a diagnostic tool for their technicians, Lexus technicians, to assist in vehicle repair and maintenance. Is that what that is created for?
That's their stated purpose.
Right. And is a synonym for VCH Techstream? Is
Sort of. Techstream, similar, like Bosch is the hardware and software to access the black box data. Techstream is the software to access, for example, the pre-collision system, the PCS system, and the VCH, which is the vehicle control history. So Techstream is, which does a lot of other stuff, but does access that information.
you just mentioned Bosch, didn't you, sir?
So Bosch is not in the Lexus. You use Bosch stuff sold by Bosch, Bosch software and hardware, and you walk up to the Lexus with all the Bosch stuff and plug it in and download the event data recorder.
You gotta walk. He's very physical. Like he's gonna, you grab the box and then you walk it up there. Obviously, I didn't walk it up there because I'm supervising. Then you plug it in. I didn't plug it in because I'm supervising, but somebody plugged it in, and that's what it is.
For the EDR, the black box.
The EDR, the EDM music, and and then we put on our glow stick. I don't know. I am tired of this man. I'm so glad he's done.
That was my problem. There is no Bosch stuff in the Lexus.
I understand, sir. That was going to be the question that I was trying to get to, but you've explained it, so I don't have to answer the question. Let's go to the VCH database that you say the stated purpose is to assist technicians at Lexus in vehicle repair and maintenance.
So I didn't say that was a stated purpose. I'm saying that's what Lexus or Toyota says is a stated.
I didn't say. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I didn't. This is his. If you do this face anymore, it's gonna permanently hit your face. He's like, you know, like when you're a kid and they tell you, you know, you do cross eyes, you stick out your tongue. If you keep doing that, it's gonna permanently be on your face. This is true for this guy. He should have listened to that because he's always like, okay. Looks like freaking Robert De Niro. Okay. Mm-hmm.
The stated purpose. It's being used in litigation all the time. All I know is that's what Lexus and Toyota says. But
the Lexus. The Lexus.
Again, it came about right when we started seeing all the sudden accelerations in the Toyota vehicles.
So my question is the VCH database specific to Toyota and Lexus vehicles?
So it's not a database, it's software.
Is the software specific to Lexus and
It's
Toyota?
not a database, it's a software, you idiot. Like he really thinks Alessie and everyone else is an idiot. Oh, it's not a database, it's a software. Doi. Doi. But you don't even know about suspensions or about the cars that you're working on, and no one's making you feel stupid. He's so rude.
Toyota.
Those particular acronyms are, yes.
He's so rude. Software. Duh, dipshit.
I want to move to another topic, and we are almost finished. We have just two more topics, sir. How
He's
common?
like, good, because I got to change my piss pants. Okay, it's cold now, and it's causing a rash.
Were VCH events when Miss Read owned the Lexus?
In 2022?
Do you know the ownership period of Miss Read with respect to the Lexus? Do you know how long she owned it?
I have that documentation. I don't know off the top of my head.
Do you have an approximate?
No, I mean, it was a 2021 vehicle. Our accident's January 29, 2022.
He doesn't have it.
But I did get that information.
He doesn't know.
Do you
Don't ask him
know
questions.
how many VCH events were associated with the Lexus of Miss Read?
I did not count them, no. I have them all.
Do you
I was
have,
only focused on the ones around our time period.
exactly. But do you have the number of events? Do you know how many there were?
I can get it for you.
How long would it take, sir?
3 minutes?
Why don't we come back to it?
Okay.
And we'll see if it's.
How about I start this so that we don't have to wait for it to boot up? And then when we come back to it, it's ready to go. You okay with that?
That's all you're looking at, sir.
Yep.
Thank you. And then
And he's gonna look up corn, allegedly. Okay, he's gonna look up some ladies. But I love how he's still like, okay, I know, you know, you're the attorney and you're leading this cross, but how about I you? We can kind of kill two birds with one stone. I'll do that. Oh my God. Know your role, bro.
of events. Do you know how many there were?
I can get it for you.
How long would it take, sir?
3 minutes?
3 minutes means
Why don't we come back to it?
Okay.
And we'll see if it's.
How about I start this so that we don't have to wait for it to boot up? And then when we come back to it, it's ready to go. You okay with that?
That's all you're looking at, sir.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna start
then-
this.
Pick your head up, please, so I can finish these two.
Please,
topics.
go ahead.
So, how often were VCH events recorded on the
He's
Lexus?
Googling hose long to figure out the VHS event on Karen Read's car. Also, hose long does it take for the the jumpy thing. I forgot what it's called. In the car, the suspension. That's what it is.
On the Lexus before January 29th of 2022.
He's like, oh my God, I have notifications on Facebook. What the hell? My family had another party and didn't invite me? Oh my God.
Man, I have to pull this data up.
Fair
to
enough, fair
answer
enough.
that question.
Man, what you just call man, I gotta pull this data up, bro. I gotta pull this data up, man.
And that's going to be in what you're also pulling up.
That's the goal.
You're
here.
the one who said that you could multitask. You suggested the multitasking, sir. You said, how about you just keep asking me and then I'll pull this up, get it all up and about, and then we can, knock this thing out. And then when you're asked to multitask, you're like, whoa, I got to focus here. I got to focus here, bro.
Sure.
He's a mouth breather. Do you see him? He's like, he's one of those people who's talking while he's reading his email. Oh, that's my sister posted a status. I no longer love my brother, Judson Welcher. He is a dipshit. I watched him on the Karen Read trial, and he is embarrassing the entire family. I've unfriended him as of now, but I can still see it. Oh no, but I've made my status public so he can still read it. Oh my God, this is how I find out? This is how I find out?
Would the
Judson.
number be about 15? Does
Perusing
that
the
sound
internet.
right to you?
Let's see. One.
He's adding things to his card on Michael's. He's got a voucher to use.
There's
1,
18.
2, 3,
18.
4.
So there were 8. Your records show
He
that
Googled it.
there were 18 VCH events.
Hose long to find out what a VCH is.
Recorded on Miss Read's Lexus, correct?
Before the subject.
Right. Did you conclude that any of those events, other than the 1162-2, were a collision?
No.
Now let's go to
No, we cannot prove that there was a collision at all. John O'Keefe's injuries are not consistent with a collision. But we're gonna stick with collision. We're gonna stick with you definitely hit him with a car. Yeah.
reverse recorded events. Can you tell how many of those 18 events were reverse recorded events? And you know what I mean by reverse recorded events?
No.
Yes.
The vehicle going in reverse. How many of those events
He doesn't
were
know.
the vehicle going in reverse?
And this is before.
4. Other than
He asked you, is this before?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, I would have to pull up the PCS file.
Unless he's getting excited. 4. No. But I have to. Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm getting excited. We're almost done.
Can you start that and I can continue on with the questioning?
I got to. So the PCS file is I have a second laptop. That
Here's
has
what I'm going to
Techstream.
do.
A second laptop. Oh my God. Check his hard drives. Why do you have so many laptops? I have a second laptop. I have 6 phones. I gotta go through them.
That's not important for me to keep going and get through it. So let's just stay on the events.
Why would you need a second laptop?
Okay.
I'm still gonna. Should I look at my second? No, don't look at any of your laptops. You're useless, worthless. But I got my laptop. He's still looking at his fucking lap. No one wants you to look at your laptop, but it's right there. It's a piece. It's a compact. That's a shitty laptop. No, it's not. It's pretty nice. Oh my God.
Only one of all of those events, those 18,
I just want to make sure it's in there. I can feel it. I'm stroking my laptop right now. I think I can get the information from just stroking it. What are you doing?
are you concluding that there was a collision associated with them?
He's
Correct?
literally stroking something in his bag.
Just one.
No, all those 18 are before. The collision is number 19.
No, I'm saying,
He's jacking off his laptop or something.
I understand what you're saying, but for all the other events that are recorded, you're not, other than the January 29th.
Did you hear that? It sounds like he just took a picture. Did you just take a dick pic while you're on the stand, sir? Did you hear that click? Am I hearing things? What is happening?
Number 19.
No, I'm saying, I understand what you're saying, but for all the other events that are recorded, you're not, other than the.
He took a picture. He took a fucking picture. Did you guys hear the click? I think he took a dick pic. He was like, hey, baby, it's me. I'm on the stand. I gotta hear it again. I'm pretty sure he took a picture.
January 29, 11/62/2, you're not concluding that any of those were collisions, correct? Then just one. Of all of those events, those 18, are you concluding that there was a collision associated with them, correct? Just one.
No, all those 18 are before. The collision is number 9.
Did I miss it?
So the PCS file is I have
Only one of all of those events, those 18, are you concluding that there was a collision associated with them, correct? Just one.
no, all those 18 are before. The collision is number 19.
No, I'm saying, I understand what you're saying, but for all the other events that are recorded, you're not, other than the January.
I slowed it down to 0.9. I was like, click, click, click. He's stroking it and taking freaking dick pics on the stand, bro.
Hey.
He needs to be court-martialed. He's like,
Only one of all of those events,
Look at his
those
face.
18,
ah,
are you concluding that there was a collision
he's trying to get a little chub before he takes a picture or something.
associated with them, correct? Just one.
No, all those 18 are before. The collision is number 19.
No, I'm saying, I understand what you're saying, but for all the other events that are recorded, you're not, other than the January 29, 11/62/2, you're
Sounds
not
like a
concluding
camera.
that any
Lock
of
'em
those
up.
were collisions, correct?
I didn't look at them. They were so far mileage away from everything.
That was creepy.
But you're not concluding, even though they were so far away.
That was creepy. He was stroking his bag for too long, and then we heard a camera. What's going on? I'm going to need a full investigation into that.
Didn't look at them, you don't conclude from the information you have that any of them were a collision, correct?
I wouldn't put it past him. I'll be honest.
Let's go to 5:07 a.m.
Let's go to prison because whatever you did was criminal right there.
on January 29th, 2022.
Oh, not
at
the
One
binder
Meadows, the
again.
home
Oh, put the binder away.
of Mr. O'Keefe.
Oh.
There was a collision between Ms. Reed's 6,000-pound Lexus and Mr. O'Keefe's approximately 4,500 Chevy Traverse. That's undisputed, correct? They collided. They made contact.
They touched.
Right.
Oh, they touched. They touched just like you touched whatever's in your bag and took a picture of it.
But the actual collision at One Meadows did not
They touched. It's just a little touch.
register the recording of an event on the Lexus VCH system did it.
Correct. Too minor.
So,
Too minor.
however, you want this jury, sir, to conclude that the glancing blow that you contend occurred at 34 Fairview Road by the same 6,000-pound Lexus in contact with a mere 216-pound man did register an event on the Lexus, correct?
No, the impact didn't register the event. As I pointed out, the trigger was from when the accelerator pedal went to 30%. The Techstream does not register crashes at all. It registers excessive acceleration, excessive steering, excessive braking, things like that, things that would be part of the maintenance system. So the Techstream will never register an event, even if you hit a wall at 100 miles an hour necessarily. It'll cause stop codes and things like that. But that's not what it does. The trigger here was transitioning into reverse and then gunning the accelerator pedal in reverse. And so when it went from 30 up to 74% throttle, once it went over 30 in that transition, that's what triggered the Techstream. It had nothing to do with, and that's why I'm telling you, I don't know when in that event the impact occurred, because the Techstream doesn't tell you that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Exactly my point.
Thank you. You're welcome. Alessie's like, that's exactly my point. The dude's doing like really bad sign language.
Techstream information doesn't tell you when a collision occurs, does it?
Correct.
That's all the questions I have at this time, Your Honor.
Oh, thank God.
All right, why don't we take our morning recess?
All right, when we take a recess and then they come back and then there's a little crusty, Alessie, and Hanky Pinky.
Give me a minute to pack up and I will be out of here.
And then he
Thank you,
makes a
Victoria.
little joke at the end. Basically, his testimony, in my opinion, is just worthless and shitty and a waste of time. Prove nothing other than Aperture is a company that loves to employ people who I don't know what they do other than like lie on the stand, are inept, are not qualified to do what they say they're supposed to do, but they make a lot of money.
in confirmation and to see whether there's confirmation bias. Have you heard of scientists refer that as showing your math, so to speak, in working through hypotheses, documenting each hypothesis and how and why you rejected them? Have you heard of that term in the scientific world, show your math with confirmation biases and alternative hypotheses?
Bro, you're on TV. Don't pick your nose. Don't pick your nose, bro.
Just a question. Have you heard the idiom, the phrase, show your math?
Your question is, have I ever heard show your math, period?
Associated with the application of various hypotheses to avoid confirmation bias. Have you heard of that term used in that conjunction?
Not really in that
Okay.
context. It's probably, I understand where you're going with it.
No, sir.
You're welcome.
No further question.
I understand what you're going with it because I'm not an idiot, even though I played one in this trial, but I'm not an idiot. I understand where you're going. Oh, this man. I bet you he thinks, I bet you he got on the plane called Aperture. Killed it. Yeah. And they're like, no, you did worse than Shannon. What? No, I killed it. Like the audience, they're whatever they're called, the jury, they love me. That was great. No, we have to close down Aperture now. They think we're all stupid dum-dums who overcharge for services we clearly can't provide.
Dr. Welcher, you are awesome.
Oh my God, thank you.
Oh my God, thank you. This piss in my pants. Look at Bev's so happy. She's like, you get out of here, you big dummy. You go change your underpants. Look at even the court reporter to wipe her mouth. She's like, disgusting. Go get yourself a fresh pair of Fruit of the Looms there, guy.
Give me a minute to pack up and I will be out of here.
Oh, he needs a minute to pack up because he brought 17 laptops, 12 binders, 6 notebooks, and a camera for dick pics.
That's right.
Oh, great. Hanky Panky's back. 5-0 goes west.
Commonwealth moves to introduce and play clip 26.
Ooh, one of these Karen Read clips that clearly prove she's guilty. Get us with these short clips where she's like, I was like, could I have hit him? Did I hit him? I didn't know. I didn't know what happened. We're all just driving drunk around town. And I'm like, what's going on with John? And then I talked to Yannetti, and Yannetti was like, no, if you hit him, there's some culpability, but you didn't hit him.
So I thought when I run him over, did he try to get me as I was leaving and I didn't know it? I mean, I've always got the music blasting. It's snowing. I got the wipers going, the heater blasting. Did he come and hit in the back of my car and I hit him in the knee and he's drunk and passed out and asphyxiated or
Guilty. Lock her up. That's it. Lock her up.
something?
She questioned what could have happened. Lock her up.
And then when I hired David, I asked him those questions the night of January 29th. Like, David, what if, what if I ran his foot over? Or what if...
The Commonwealth moves to bring in a new expert, a foot hitting expert. We're going to change the timeline to what you guys said because that makes more sense. And we believe his foot was run over with no direct injuries to the foot because we have an expert that says the foot can be ran over and kill you without you being able to see it. It's the silent killer. Okay, so we move to bring that expert witnesses in, and also with the timeline they say. So with the Wi-Fi connected, yeah, and obviously originally we said she must have did it at this time, but at that time her Wi-Fi is connecting to John's house. So oopsie doopsies. We're just gonna mark that back, and kind of line up with their timeline. But she still did it. She ran over his foot because she told us right there.
I clipped him in the knee and he passed.
Also, we're Commonwealth moves to objection, Your Honor. This is ridiculous. They can't just move. Overruled. Hanky Panky. Who do you want to bring in, honey? We're going to bring in a knee expert, a clipper. We're going to bring in the LA Clippers because they know about clipping, and they're going to prove that she did clip his knee and run over his foot with no visible signs of that. Okay, but sometimes it can manifest on your arm, and we have experts we have paid $500,000 who will say that is true.
Passed out or went to care for himself and threw up or passed out, and they would see it, and you were somehow in a culpability.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth rests.
You rested on that? Oh my God. The Commonwealth rests, and I do love to hear it. And now we are going to hear from the defense. Like I said earlier, apparently it's going to take a week to a week and a half. That's baffling. We'll see who's called. We'll see what. I'm just ready. Let's keep it going. Yes. I still can't believe we got through 36 or so witnesses for the Commonwealth. So bring on the defense. Bring on Aka. Show us what happened. Bring on Dunkin' Donuts. Bring on a toe fungus. Bring it all on. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I know that Alan Jackson and them say, no, it's okay that Karen was doing all these interviews, but I think you would probably talk to any lawyer. All the lawyers that cover these cases are like, no, we prefer that our clients don't do interviews and talk. We prefer that they can't then take clips of my client and use them out of context to prove her guilt, or also just having the jury watch those clips and them get a bad taste in their mouth regarding Karen and the way she talks or the way she describes it. So I imagine they probably wish she wouldn't, but I think when she was doing these interviews, well, I think you can't tell Karen she can't do it. But I also think you can tell her, but it doesn't mean she's going to do it. I also think she thought that the trial was going to be it. And she's filming, the body in the snow or documentary and all that. Oh my God, fur babies at my door. Like, Mom, time for bed. Time for bed. So thank you guys for joining me. Hi, Prince. Prince, you want to say goodbye? Come here, producer Prince. Hi. Should we show everyone how cute you are? Come here. Come here. You got my butt on camera. Look at this baby. Look at this baby. Look at this photograph. Every time I do, it makes me laugh. He likes his belly rubbed. And he says, thanks for watching. You guys are real sweeties. Right? Hey, the baby. Hey, the baby. Look at this photograph. Every time I do it, man. Okay. I need to go to bed. This is too much. You guys are wonderful, beautiful pumpkin spice babies. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'll be back tomorrow sometime, probably later. Shout out to all my super chatters today. Elizabeth, LXU, Charicity, Liz, myself, Casey, and everyone who joined. Shout out to my mods. You guys are the best. You guys smash that like on your way out. Don't forget to comment. Okay. And I'll talk to you guys later. Okay. I still don't have my outro on this, but we will end with I lost half a day of skiing. Bye.
And he has deterred you from enjoying the rest of what was a very expensive vacation.
Well, I lost half a day of skiing.
Uh-huh.